Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Gadget Nation with me, Adam Carruthers. We are here, cat in the box, in Empire Damansara. So, lots to show you today. We prepared plenty for you. Why? Because we want you to stay up to date on all the news in the world of technology. So enough chat from me, let's start.
Dell has unveiled its latest gaming systems, the Alienware 15 and Alienware 17. Sported with the latest gaming technologies, the NVIDIA GTX 980M, users will definitely experience an excellent gaming at full throttle power. In addition to these notebooks, Dell also showcased its suite of devices such as the Alienware 13, Alienware Graphics Amplifier, Alienware Area 51, and many more. Sony Computer Entertainment has announced PlayStation 4 exclusive titles, The Order 1886 and Bloodborne. The Order 1886 rewrites history by introducing Victorian-era London, where myths and technology coexist. On the other hand, Bloodborne is a unique Japan-made action RPG that will sure to captivate players around the globe. Samsung has introduced the Milk Music, a new and free radio service that offers an effortless and entertaining way to enjoy the music. Fully customizable, Milk is designed with an elegant, easy-to-use interface and more than 200 stations that makes tuning into your favorite music a more enjoyable and enriching experience.
Exciting, exciting! Two phones which will probably not break your budget entirely. Quite often we see phones 2,000 ringgit and above, maybe a shade under 1,006, and I say that's quite good value for money. However, what I have here is even better value for money. Well, depending on how the phone is and how it suits your needs. We got one here from Microsoft, quite excited. It's a dual SIM phone, and we've also got one from Alcatel. Let's focus firstly on what we have from Microsoft. Something which is interesting, obviously, the branding itself. That's the first key thing to realize. It doesn't say Nokia anymore. It says Microsoft right there at the top, which is something rather different in my eyes. However, it's quite a nifty little phone. In fact, it's only 460 ringgit. So, again, it's not going to break the bank, but when you factor in the price, do not expect me to be raving on about good camera, good screen, good specs inside or anything like that, because it's not really going to be the case with this. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty. Internally, we're talking a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor with 1 GB of RAM. So it's not really going to be pumping too much juice out there. And even the screen itself, 960 by 540 pixel resolution, means it's not really going to be too sharp, in my opinion. Yeah, let's just put it that way. Smaller text, etc. will look a little bit blurry. The interface itself, the Windows interface, does look great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just everything else is not too great. Now, let me just show you a few things. For example, you may notice this nice white back. Just ignore the sticker there. This is a sample unit, obviously. But there is quite a bit to love about it. I mean, it is an interchangeable back, and as we've seen from these phones in the past, well, they can get very, very colorful. What we have is a white one. We can see a nice big battery right there. And then we've obviously got dual SIM card slots here and here. There is a micro SD card slot, so it's obviously expandable memory. This comes pre-installed with about 8 GB of memory in here. So with expandable storage, which I'm a big fan of, that does go a rather long way. Let me just pop this back. Now, obviously one thing we love about the Microsoft phones of recent times, Nokia Lumia previously, was the camera. This one, no. But then again, you look at the price point, 460 ringgit. This on the back is a 5 megapixel camera. It kind of protrudes a bit, like we've seen from the 1020, for example. But don't be fooled, because the pictures probably aren't going to be too great. They're fine, I would say, for Instagram, etc. But Facebook, okay, they're all right for Facebook, but anything above that, you might struggle just a bit. However, it's also 5 megapixels on the front. So that is actually, in my opinion, rather generous considering the price point, again, under 500 ringgit for this bad boy right here. So if you're into selfies, well, that could be very useful for you. If you're into really taking scenic shots, etc., the back camera might be a little bit, well, not good enough in terms of quality. Let's just be blunt about it. Now, everything else about the phone, though, seems nice enough. If you bear in mind the resolution, etc., it's not too shabby. I've been quite impressed by this. It does do quite a bit, and they've done quite a good job. You just have to factor in the price point. And, you know, looking at dual SIM card phones, obviously that's a very niche market. Only certain people will need it, but it's something to think about as a travel phone as such. So let's move on to another phone which isn't too expensive either. It's from Alcatel. What we have here is the Alcatel One Touch Flash. It's pretty nice. In fact, it may be bigger, that's a fact, than the Microsoft phone, but it feels a little bit lighter or about the same weight. Bearing in mind, even the battery itself, obviously a huge part of the weight of a phone. Well, this has got a 1,950 mAh battery. This has got over 3,000. So, well, right off the bat, the battery life on this is really good. But it's still really light, rather. It's about 146 grams, so very nice to hold in your hands. Let's put it that way. Now, let's just take a look at it in itself. Around the side, this is also a dual SIM card phone. We got one SIM card slot there, the volume rocker, and also the power button. So that's on the right side of the phone. On top, we got the headphone jack. And here we have the micro SD card slot. This comes with 8 GB, expandable up to 32, and also the other SIM card slot. That's SIM card 1, obviously at the bottom with a USB port. So pretty nifty. The screen in itself is better. We're talking about, let me just turn the camera off. A full-on 1280 screen resolution there, so it's pretty good. I mean, I know it's a bit harsh to compare this to other phones, but this phone is also relatively cheap. It's about 700 ringgit, 699. So I got to factor that all in when I'm telling you about it. It's running on Android 4.4.2. Obviously, hopefully that'll be upgraded in the future. And you can see from itself, the screen, not quite as sharp, or at least in my eyes, before we come across the camera, as what we've come to expect from other devices. But again, just got to remember the price point. On the back, it's 13 megapixel camera, and it's actually above average. I'm actually impressed. Even the front camera in itself is also above average. So if you're really into your pictures, like I was just talking about with the Microsoft phone, this is effectively the same as well, and I'm quite impressed by that. And bearing in mind the price point, etc., yeah, it's okay. It's also using a MediaTek octa-core 1.4 gigahertz processor inside, so it'll definitely chug along and get the job done. But don't expect anything really high-end. Gotta keep stressing that, because you gotta remember the price points. These are dual SIM card phones. So what do I think about these two in comparison? Overall, it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're into your dual SIM card phones, there seems to be a growing market. I know quite a few people that travel, say, to Singapore or to other parts of the region, and they use two SIM cards. So a phone like this is right up their alley. I mean, to have two instead of switching around your cards, carrying around the pin if your phone needs that, etc., that could be very, very useful. But obviously, it's really appealing to that demographic. Here, I don't think there's too many people that would need a dual SIM card phone. I don't know, maybe there are, if you have two lines, one for work, one for personal use, etc. But something to think about. And again, you look at the price points. I mean, the Microsoft one is under 500 ringgit. This one is a shade under 700 ringgit. So it's both phones not really breaking the bank rather. One from Alcatel, one from Microsoft. So pretty cool. I mean, don't expect anything too fancy. Don't expect to be sitting down and playing lots and lots of games, etc. on it. It's not really meant for that. If you're looking for something which is a lot of power, uses the latest specs, has the best camera, look at something like the ES5, look at the HTC One M8, look at the iPhone 6 or 6 Plus. Look at those phones. These are appealing to something completely different, but definitely worth checking out. So, do you have a need for a dual SIM card phone?